Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel. And you'd be actually wondering. Yes, we have come matching today in the blue tops, but honestly, we did not mean that anyway. But welcome to the match preview of Liverpool against Southampton, with the Saints being in 13th place in the table. And to join me is a big Saints fan. You've seen him before on the channel. It's Mr. Dan Hargreaves. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. The Norwich result put a bit of a bitter taste on the weekend, but overall, I'm good. Yeah, besides Saints.
Yeah. I can definitely imagine that you are not feeling the best. But let's put it this way: that to be 13th at this stage in the season, would you take that?
Yeah, I think everyone would have taken it at this stage. It was always going to be a tricky one for us, and it was one that everyone was had kind of different views on going into the season after such a strong first half of last year and such a dismal second half. I think everyone was, kind of they just had no idea what to expect really. But there was a lot of talk of relegation and being in that battle for pretty much the entire season and being, gonna somewhat a side that's going to be kind of in there. But yeah, I think everyone would take 13th right now. Generally, I think the fan base are quite satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we've got Jurgen Klopp against people who obviously call Hasenhuttl, the Austrian Klopp as well. How would you sum up your season? Because I think to describe it, it's probably been stop-start. Whereas basically you win a game and then you expect to maybe get another win, and then it's just kind of draws and then defeats. You just haven't managed to get into momentum of winning games yet.
Yeah, I think the word I used earlier, satisfactory, just now. That's probably a decent enough one. It kind of gives you an idea that everyone's happy enough, but there's kind of that feeling that maybe we could have done a little bit better in certain games. But overall, we look a better outfit. We're much improved in certain areas, particularly the defense. 5 clean sheets in the
Yeah.
league. A lot better than some of the big sides. It's just we've focused more on our defending, and the attacking side of things has kind of cost from that. We're not really scoring that many goals. But generally, we look a lot more solid. We're 13th, but if you look at the games we've played and the results we've gotten, we've actually picked up more points from those fixtures than we did last season.
Hmm.
So, for example, getting a point against Man United at home,
Yeah.
in the second game, going to the Etihad and getting a 0-0. We've had some decent results in there before. This weekend, we were the only team to take points off of West Ham when they were away from home. So, we've had some good results in there. Obviously, it took us a while to get that first win, but now we've had three. We had two in a row against Watford and Villa, and you look at those and both 1-0. The Leeds win was 1-0 as well, and all three of them should have
Yeah.
been more comfortable. And that's what I mean about the attacking output. Not taking our chances, and it was the same thing on Saturday at Carabao, but this time, it cost us.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It was a very disappointing game. Obviously, watching all match of the day, like obviously you obviously just see highlights of that. But one name I want to bring up because I think he has been obviously noted as probably one of the signings of the summer is Valentin Livramento. What have you made of him this season?
He's nuts. He's gonna break everyone's heart. He's gonna break everyone's heart at some point. He was a massive surprise. I think I remember, like I've said this before to other opposition fan channels when we played teams, when I remember a couple of fans that I knew kind of who were into their stats, into their youth football, knowing about him and being Chelsea's Academy Player of the Year, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then we were linked with him, and they were all like,
Yeah.
"Yes, this is the guy. This would be a good signing." But we didn't really think anything of it, only because we just had Carl Walker Peters off the back of 1.5 really good seasons with Saints as first choice right back. There was no indication that we needed a new first choice. It was, if anything, it was a backup because Valerie
Yeah.
wasn't cutting it, and then we needed a new left back because Ryan Bertrand had left as well. So there was no kind of indication that he would be anywhere near first choice and taking Walker Peters' place. And then fast forward to the first game against Everton, and he's starting, and Walker Peters is on the bench, and everyone's
Yeah.
just thinking, what's going on? He's 18 years old, but he's been magnificent.
I mean, he's in my fantasy football team, and
Yeah,
he's getting me points
yeah,
week in, week out. He's been a big surprise, but obviously, I think he scored recently as well, so
yeah.
gave me a big total. So obviously, thank you, Valentin. I really do appreciate that. But one other name I want to say, Adam Armstrong as well. What have you made of him?
Yeah, I think he's starting to settle. I was really delighted that he got his goal against Villa because it'd been, I think, 8 or 9 games without a goal. And you just want to see your new players do well, particularly. It was brilliant to get for him to get his first goal on his debut. And I remember in this summer there was a lot of talk that we were going to pull out because Crystal Palace, or I think Burnley might have been involved. Watford, those sorts of teams in and
Yeah,
around us were going for him. But in the end, we were able to kind of see it through with the Danny Ings money. But yeah, he's in a new league. He's come up from the Championship, a league where he scored a lot of goals, a league where you get a lot more time as a centre forward to get your shot off. Accuracy isn't that as big a thing when it comes to putting them away. The goalkeeping standard isn't as high, so he's got to adapt. It's a quicker game as well, but he's lightning quick. He's not afraid to get a shot off. And like I said, it was great to see him score that goal, and it was a good goal as well. For a guy
yeah.
to be 8, 9 games without a goal, to hit it from there, he's a confident boy, and I do back him to get a couple more this season. I don't think he'll be our top scorer, but I think he was a good buy, and long term he'll be good for us.
And obviously, I can't. Obviously, I am a big Scotsman, and I cannot stay without speaking in the highest regard of Stuart Armstrong and Che Adams. What have you made about them this season?
With Stuart, it's been a little bit disappointing in the sense that he's hardly played
Yeah,
with injury. But you can see when he came back recently, I can't remember who he started against quite recently. I think it might have been Watford, or it was Villa actually. He got his first start in a while against Villa, and he just changes everything. We're a much better output going forward. Unfortunately, again, missed Norwich with a knock. I don't know whether
yeah,
he's available for Saturday. And then for Shea, it's the exact same thing we've been saying since he signed kind of 2 summers ago, where once he gets one, he'll go score 5 or 6 more in a couple of
yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
And obviously now he's probably in the best form he's been in terms of club and country since we signed him. I think it's 5 goals in 6 games in kind of for Scotland and Saints. Obviously got
yeah,
one on the weekend against Norwich. He's looking a lot better. He's kind of been one of those players since he signed where everyone's backed him. He's shown the talent. Maybe because he's a striker, he hasn't got the credit from outside of Saints that he deserves. But his hold-up play is good. He's a smart footballer. He's physical. Obviously, he can score from kind of anywhere, really, as he's shown quite recently with that goal against Watford. But yeah, I really like him. I think our partnership of him and Armstrong's gonna work. It's gonna take a bit of time. We've also got Armando Broja, who's coming on loan from Chelsea and
mm,
look good. And all three of them offer something different, which is something we didn't really have last season. That's what I mean in terms of improvement when I mentioned earlier. We've also got more squad depth this year. The reason why Saints kind of crumbled in the second half of last season was because we just didn't have the depth. When all the injuries
yeah,
came to big players, we couldn't respond to that. We gave 3, 4, 5, 6 academy players debuts, and now they're nowhere near the first team. And there's a reason for that. It's because we just had no options, and this year we actually do have those
yeah.
options. So yeah, I think Shea alongside 2 other strikers, we've got 3 really good centre forwards.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, I obviously Shea Adams. I cannot speak highly enough of recently. And as you say, 5 goals and 6 appearances for club and country is a very good return of it. And obviously, we cannot forget Mr. Southampton himself, James Ward-Prowse. Obviously signed a new contract as well recently. How key is that?
Yeah, that was a big deal. That was in the summer when Villa were kind of sniffing around. They just signed Ings and were kind of getting a little bit big for their boots. Um, in the sense of bidding £25 million for him, which was just it was an insult, really. But yeah, it meant a lot. To be honest, think there was some sort of clause in there quite similar to what Villa did with Grealish, in the sense that if in the summer a big club comes knocking for a certain big price, we'll let him go. But he's a Southampton boy. He's very loyal. He's very settled here. Obviously, as a footballer, he'll be kind of ambitious, I guess, to test himself at the highest level. But right now, it depends who you ask. But he's not really met the heights of last season so far this campaign. He had a suspension which broke a record of something like 150 games consecutively,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was just nuts. It was a crazy record. And since he's come back from that suspension, he's looked a lot better. He would admit that his first 8-9 games of the season weren't up to his standard. But yeah, he's looking better, and he's probably one of the first three names in the team sheet still, without a doubt. But again, you've got young Ibrahim Diallo knocking on the door now,
Mm.
who played very well through the suspension. And this is what I mean in terms of competition for places. We didn't have that last year, and it's a good kind of headache for Ralph Hasenhuttl to have.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, as you say, strength and depth is very, very key to the football teams, and especially for a club like Southampton. And yes, I do remember all the academy boys you gave debuts to last season. Was just very, very impressive. Anyway, have you? Obviously, I know with obviously you being obviously a football sort of journalist, sort of. Have you managed to get to many games this season?
No, definitely not as a journalist. I've only done two because I'm based in the Midlands. So I went to the Man United 1-1 when I was home for the summer, and the Everton game. Actually, I travelled up to Liverpool for that. They were both
Okay.
good days out, and then we had Sheffield United in the Cup 2 months ago, and that's like 30 minutes away. So I went to that as well. But I'm going to Anfield on Saturday, so I'm excited for that one. So yeah, I haven't really been able to be honest. In all honesty, even on TV, it's only recently I've been able to watch them a bit more. But the first couple of weeks of the season, I missed the Man City game, the Burnley game, the West Ham game, Wolves. There were a good few that I just didn't see, and it's unheard of really for there to be full capacities and me not being at St Mary's, but that's how it is nowadays for me. So it's been a shame, but yeah, like I said, even though I'm not confident that we'll come away with anything on Saturday, it'd be nice to watch them in the flesh again on Saturday, and then over Christmas coming up.
Yeah, there's nothing better going home and away to watch your club. But yeah, obviously, safe travels, obviously to Anfield. But yeah, I'm hoping you don't get anything. Obviously, what have you made of Liverpool this season?
It's a hard one really, because I said at the start of the season that Chelsea were my favourites for the title. I think what they did in the Champions League, particularly, and how Tuchel is kind of transformed them, they were my favourites to sign it, and their signings were good as well. But with Liverpool, again, they're up there. They're going to be up there for the whole season, in my opinion. I think again we've kind of got a three-horse race with Chelsea and Man City alongside Liverpool. I was quite surprised, even though West Ham obviously have a much more solid outfit nowadays, that you guys lost that game. But again, kind of turned it around with a 4-0 win at home to Arsenal. They're a very dangerous side, Liverpool, and history doesn't favour us in terms of trips to Anfield in the Premier League. So yeah, like I said, I think they'll be up there. They're a very dangerous side. We know all about them. We know all about Klopp. He's been there long enough, and Ralph's been here long enough for us to know what you guys are all about. Obviously, had a bit of a tricky season for your standards last year. Obviously, we won 1-0 at St Mary's, but again, that was completely different circumstances.
Yeah.
I think we'll fast forward to my prediction in the sense that I think we'll give you a good game. I don't think you'll roll us over like Arsenal. I think we'll manage the game relatively well. That doesn't mean we'll come away with the result, but yeah, Liverpool are always a team that I fear, and they're going to be up there, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, obviously past meetings between the two, obviously there was that 1-0 at St Mary's where Danny Ings, brilliant finish. And it was a very, very good finish. And then obviously you went to Anfield and it was 2-0, but I felt for a time in that game, I thought you actually had a good spell in that game.
Yeah, we did. I remember Adam. I think it was Adams missing one or two decent chances. But yeah, that's what I mean in terms of depth. There just wasn't much at that point. Especially at that point, we were really on a bad run. It was towards the end of the season. I think we'd just been knocked out of the FA Cup at the semi-final stage. The season was done at that point. I think everyone was kind of mentally on the beach. But yeah, I remember again. It was, and that's the kind of game I think we're going to play on Saturday, where we'll be in it, and we'll create chances.
Yeah.
Whether we'll take them or not is obviously up to the players, and on the day we'll see. But again, that wasn't a comfortable game for Liverpool, and I don't expect Saturday to be
Yeah.
either.
No, absolutely not. What are you guys like on set pieces? Because we seem to be very vulnerable from set pieces. That's something I've been looking at this season, and I kind of compare this Liverpool team to the one in 2013, 2014, where we could not defend a single set piece for toffee. We were very, very poor at defending set pieces. So what are you guys like on set pieces?
We were okay. Obviously, if you've got James Ward-Prowse in your team, you're going to be decent in terms of delivery. We've got a few big guys. I would say Mohamed Salah is probably the focal point of that. Not great, but I think it's definitely something we will look to exploit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we have to be wary of your corners, obviously for James Ward-Prowse as well. You got big guys at the back as well to deal with as well. I am very much looking forward to this game, as well, because obviously after that we do have the Merseyside derby. So I don't know what kind of squad team he's going to play, because I don't know if he'll have one eye on the derby, but it could be a very, very interesting team selection anyway. But what is your team for Saturday?
So I'd say we'll go. See, this is the thing with Ralph nowadays, where you can't really predict what he's going to do because he's learned how to actually change formation. I could, for the purpose of this video, I'll go with his normal kind of 4-2-2. But do not be surprised to see a back five sort of situation where we're a bit more defensive. But I'd say, yeah, I think we'll go 4-2-2. It'll be Alex McCarthy in goal. It'll be Walker Peters and Livramento as the fullbacks, with Salisu and Bednarek centre backs. That's the other thing. We've got Jack Stevens to come back soon. So if he is fit for this one, then Ralph might be tempted to throw him in there and go for that back five, as I mentioned. Two midfielders, Oriol Romeu and James Ward-Prowse. Hopefully, we'll have Stuart Armstrong back, because we didn't have him. So that meant that we kind of had a three-man midfield with Ibrahim Diallo and one cam against Norwich. But assuming that he's fit, we'll have Armstrong on the right and Elyounoussi on the left. Shea Adams up front with Adam Armstrong, that is, I would say. But that could be completely off. We could have Amanda Broja start. We could have Gineppo, if he's fit, come in. Nathan Tellen might be given a shout. Walcott might be given a shout. There's a variety, but based on what he's been doing recently, I think that's how it'll go.
It's always nice to have a headache, and at least you're not Ralph Hasenhuttl, who has that decision to make as well.
Indeed, yeah. Well, he's got a headache to make, not necessarily a headache in terms of having the best players, but he's definitely got numbers. That's the difference.
Oh, 100%. Well, obviously it'll be Ali in goal. I think Alisson will definitely start. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold. I am going to go for Kanate in this game. I think if he doesn't, obviously we're obviously recording this before the FC Porto game, but I think you'll see loads of changes in the Porto game. I think if he doesn't play in the Porto game, then I think he might play in this game. Van Dijk, obviously, he'll definitely play, and then whether or not he is back for Porto or whether or not he's even fit, I think Tsimikas will continue at left back. Then I'm going to go Fabinho, Thiago, who I think got one of his only goals last season against the Saints, if I seem to remember as well. And then I do think it will probably be Jordan Henderson, as much as I would like to say Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who had a very good game against Arsenal. I think it's all about minutes for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. I do think that it'll be Fabinho, Thiago, Hendo midfield, and then up front it will be the front three of Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, and Diogo Jota, or Diogo Jota, as many people have been saying recently.
Yeah, big front three. That big front three, and that's where we're gonna have to be at our game, especially those fullbacks. Tino's had a very good season. He's been relatively decent against big players, but this is going to be the biggest test for him, in my opinion. He went to Man City, had got a clean sheet, but I think this just pips it a little bit.
Yeah, him against Salah could be very, very interesting indeed. Okay, so what is your score prediction?
I'd like to say that we'll come away with a goal, but I don't know. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be the same as last season, where it's going to be 2-0. I think, like I said to you, we'll compete. We might create the odd chance and give Liverpool a little bit of a scare, but at the moment we're just not converting, and I can't see that changing against a side like Liverpool. You'll give us chances, we'll create them. It's just about us to put them away. But yeah, I think we'll defend relatively well. We'll camp out in our own half a little bit. But yeah, we're playing against one of the best teams in Europe, let alone England. So eventually, even if we do camp tight, you'll break us. You'll break us down. I think it's a relatively straightforward one to predict. It'll be a Liverpool win somehow.
Yeah, so you're going 2-0.
2-0.
Funnily enough, that was my prediction as well. I've just got a feeling we'll be able to shut you out, as they say. But I am very wary of obviously James Ward-Prowse. I'm very wary of obviously Che Adams, who's in the form of his life, I would say, at this moment in time. Obviously, you've got Valentino Livramento as well, who is very, very rapid as well. And it is going to be a very, very interesting game. And I don't think it's going to be comfortable like last season. I actually look at the past meetings, and actually there's not been much between the two sides quite recently either. So always a good game between them. Obviously, the two managers,
I was
Klopp
say,
and
there was a 4-0 when it shouldn't have been a 4-0. I think the only one recently where there were 2 3-0s, and they were the ones where we were just nowhere near. But I think our last 2 trips to Anfield, we've definitely given you guys a game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you've definitely given us a game at St Mary's as well. So yeah, it's always one of those games where everyone looks forward to. Definitely Liverpool against Southampton, and I'm pretty sure Saturday will definitely be no different. Dan, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and doing this match preview. And obviously enjoy the game on Saturday. Not too much, obviously. But what are you up to these days? Because obviously I know you did have the Saints view, but you don't really do that anymore.
Yeah, we're just, like as you say, a little bit too busy at the moment. Alongside being as a student, I'm freelancing. I'm still trying to go to the occasional game as press. I'm helping out with loads of different clubs. I'm doing academy reporting for Birmingham City. Like, I'm just kind of doing as much as I can, really. Last year I was a bit more kind of like stuck to 2 things. Now I'm kind of out and about. So yeah, it's hard to kind of pin me down at the moment. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good fun.
Great, I really do appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
As well, and yeah, obviously enjoy covering the Blaze. I've noticed you're covering a lot of Sheffield United these days as well.
No, there's not been much to cover at the moment in terms of good news. But we've been keeping an eye on them. Definitely keeping an eye on them. We'll see how the season goes for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, let us know your starting 11. Let us know your prediction for the game. And I tell you, it will be a very interesting game as well. Can Liverpool continue their recent good form, or will the Saints get a very unlikely win at Anfield? We shall see on Saturday. But until then, it's goodbye from the both of us, and we will see you in